Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to episode 108. I'm not going to get used to saying one something. But in this episode, we're going to, of course, talk about the Draymond Green and Jordan Poole situation. We got some business talk. We got whether to do business over passion or passion over business. And then position versus media. Moose, how are we feeling about this?
Yeah, this is where you start to see different sides of business that could be a little like, I don't know that I want to be involved in here, but it's good to know so you have no surprises.
Let's get into this intro.
Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And of course, this is powered by ECAMM Live, the #1 all-in-one live streaming platform that everything you see with Nicky and Moose is done through ECAMM Live from the transitions to the air horns to the audio, the whole nine, everything that you would need, especially streaming on multiple platforms, is done through ECAMM Live. So all you got to do for your 14 free day trial is go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ECAMM and you can get 14 days for free.
Let's go.
Can't believe I messed up early, but that's all good. Moose, how are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you for asking. It's still October, so I got to keep talking about the Yankees and baseball. It's a little frustrating right now being a Yankee fan, but we got faith. I got some faith. Yeah.
Are they winning? Are they losing? There's people who don't watch baseball out in these streets.
Okay,
I know you don't think that, but there's people.
I know. It's crazy to think about. No, well,
right.
at the time that we're recording this, they advanced to the championship series, but they lost the first two games. So they're down 0-2 in the championship series. So it's a little crazy, but they are coming home to the Bronx tomorrow. And I'm hoping the hometown loving is going to get them straight. So we shall see.
We shall see. Let's please root for Moose's Yankees, because this is all he's going to be talking about until then. So this is all we're going to get. This is all we're going to get, people.
For the next couple
How is Moose?
Yeah.
My Yankees lost. Oh,
man.
But how are you? No worries. That's, it is what it is. Yankees, please win. Please. I'm begging you. Somebody in the Yankees, please watch this and hear this and just do that for us, please. Myself, I am Gucci. Going to Jamaica again for the third time.
It's crazy.
I don't know how we got here. I don't know how I've gone to Mexico twice. Jamaica, this is going to be my third time. I need to go somewhere new. I think when we like stuff, we just continue to go back over and over again.
Abuse it.
Right.
Abuse it.
Let's just go somewhere else. Let's do this. But I also got a new thing. Everybody say hi to LB. Say hi to LB. Look at LB.
All right, LB, what up now?
LB's dope, right? And he also got like the little Nicky stuff like a Toy Story. Super dope. Got that done. Here's the real reason. I was done buying other art collectibles. them are expensive. Shout out to my mom. She knows about cars. Them run a good amount.
They run a guap.
Like 4 and above, right?
That's right.
If I'm going to spend that, I might as well make my own. So now we got LB. I like it. For right now, there's just one. There's one of one. Like me. So, we'll see what happens in the future.
I like that. I like that.
We'll
It's a
see
good
what's
mixing
happening.
right there. Just let the people know, in case you didn't know, originals out here. Okay,
Oh yeah,
limited
yeah.
collection.
There's only one of one.
one-on-ones.
There's only one of one.
Just in case y'all didn't know, here you go.
Yeah, but let's get into this episode.
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do something different, people. We got segments, okay? So we really need your feedback, whether it's through the comments, whether it's through the chat, however you want to go about this. We got a few segments for this episode. So this very first one, of course, is called What's Poppin'? All right? And in this section, we're going to be talking about something that's happening in the branding world, social media world that I'll cover. And then Moose will cover the business side, whatever's happening over there. So I'm going to be honest, right? I really didn't want to talk about the Kanye thing. I really didn't. Okay? I didn't want to talk about it. But then, of course, I find this clip that reminds me a little bit about it. So I'll probably refer to it. So I'm not going to, but I'm going to. If for people who are like, is Nicky and Moose going to be talking about the Kanye Drink Champs? Bare minimum, because I'm over it. But anyways, so Draymond Green, as we saw, well, you may not have saw. So let me do a quick recap, right? There was a video that was leaked of the Golden State Warriors practice, right? Now that NBA is back, there's been a lot of focus on the, NBA teams. And there was a video that was leaked that Draymond Green busted Jordan Poole's head. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. That looked mean.
Okay,
bad. That was really bad. So, of course, everybody was waiting for what does Jordan have to say? What does Draymond Green have to say? And Draymond has a podcast, right? And the question was, is it going to be on the podcast? Is it not? And he was actually talking at TechCrunch. And I really wanted to see his response about it, because when we think about it, he has all right to speak about it on his platform. That's kind of his brand. He's trying to create something outside of basketball. And so this is what he said.
For me to release a podcast and speaking on the Jordan Poole incident that we had in practice, ultimately the numbers will probably shoot through the roof, right? Because everybody wants to hear, and people love controversy.
Yeah.
And so I never want to do that and look like I'm chasing something for my personal gain. And so that was why I didn't release a podcast on the situation at all. I've spoke about it several times.
Yeah,
right?
No, for sure. Yeah.
So here's my thing, right? Because as we're growing these different platforms, whether it is as far as social media platforms, whether it's our podcast, whether it's a video platform, whatever it is, we need to understand the purpose of it. We need to understand more about why do people come here, and what is it going to do from the bigger standpoint, meaning how's my audience going to react to this? What is the impact that it's going to create, right? And this is a lot of responsibility just based off just some of the hobbies we want to do. A podcast to some is a hobby, right? Some people take it very serious in the business side of things, but for some, it's a hobby, right? Social media, some people take that very serious. Some people just find it as just leisure, right? But for those people who are taking these different platforms serious, it's more like, okay, I have to tread lightly. I know people are going to wait for what I have to say about this. And I know I can get numbers. I know that I can get the ads going on this. I'll probably can monetize this out of the wazoo. But he was like, this is not what this is for. All right. As well as I could really make my teammate feel a certain kind of way. Which, even though it's his platform, it still affected the reason why it never came out. Is it there? There is an episode. Now, here is where I say I'm trying to avoid it, but this is where I can't avoid it, right? So for those who do know, the Kanye West Drink Champs situation, Kanye went on Drink Champs. Nori was hyping it up, right? It's going to do numbers. It's going to be great. Breaking the internet, all that situation, right? He was hyping it up. It was only up for about a day and it got over 1 million views, but it was so controversy. There was so much things that went wrong with that interview. Now, since that interview, of course, Nori had apologized for the George Floyd comments, for, the Jewish situation, for whatever Kanye was saying on his platform. He said sorry. Now, shout out to Ebro, because Ebro was like, come on, Nori. You knew it was going to do numbers. You knew this. You knew what was happening, right? And he tried to dodge it, but then he kind of admitted he did, right? And he actually said, look, I already scored a touchdown. I had 2 interviews with him, part 1 and part 2. I got the numbers. This was just me trying to spike the ball. And I lost control, right? Now, I'm not going to go super into that. I just wanted to give the backstory of as far as how important it is to control your own platform and being aware of the impact that it can create, right? This is what people are going to associate you for. So with Draymond, it could have been like, oh, I'm only going to this podcast for the gossip. And he's like, this is not what that's for anymore. Like, not anymore, but ever, right? You're not going to come here just to find the tea about why I punched my man, right? To where we have the other side of things, to where it went from a platform that was celebrating the legends to now something that kind of broke people's trust because of certain events that happen. Now, my whole thing about this is control the platform, control your brand. We're creating something bigger than we can even imagine, right? Nori also, it's like, yo, I'm a journalist. I think from a journalist standpoint, I did amazing. Now, some people are going to, he's a podcaster. Well, Draymond also was like, yo, it's bigger than me, right? Mm-hmm. And we have to understand when we have situations that could probably stir up the pot, do we want to take that risk? Who is it going to impact? How is it going to do a positive or negative towards our brand? And I think that's the biggest lesson that I got when it comes to this Draymond Green situation and how he went about it, because he could have. I mean, his podcast isn't the top. It's up there, but it's not the top. And he knows the eyes are there waiting 100%. For him to say something. They would have clipped that up easy. Mm-hmm. But they didn't, because he didn't give them any reason to.
Yeah.
Nori's team clipped that up before it was even released. You knew what you were doing. But also from a positive side, Draymond knew what he was doing. And the whole lesson is just, we have to control the impact. We have to control our platform, right? And we have to understand the real purpose of why we're creating these different pieces of content and these different media platforms.
That's rich, man. That's rich. You know, just I agree. How about that? I agree. I was like,
you know what?
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right. Well, Moose, what you got going on in your world?
Man, so I want to take it a little bit, just on the funny side. It's actually something that they're testing out in New York City. Again, y'all, I'm just homebred, thorough through and through right now. So we'll keep it in New York.
Yankees, New York.
Between the Yankees and New York laws, right? It's funny. So this article came out on Bloomberg a
Shout
couple
out
of
to
weeks
the people
ago.
who are in like Bahamas.
Right. It's like, whoa, what up? What about us right here?
Right.
We'll make our way around the world. We coming. Just wait for us. But this article came out, man, on Bloomberg, which I thought was pretty interesting. And they said that New York City is proposing cash offer for spotting parking violations in the parking lane. In short, what it's saying is it will allow pedestrians to photograph any vehicle, truck, or whatever that is blocking a bike lane, okay? And if they report it, Stitch, they will, it's a joke, they will get 25% of the $175 ticket amount, all right? Now, you can go down this path of like, oh my God, how could they, and this, and that. And of course, I'm going to joke about snitches, et cetera. But the truth is, here's how I look at it from a business perspective. Right now, it is not a secret that there is a hiring shortage, that it's difficult to bring top talent, retain top talent, or bring people onto your business or your team. When I look at something like this, I'll go beyond the headlines and I say, what can that mean for me as a business person? Immediately, it's a reminder of finding creative ways to bring outside help, right, at a discounted rate. That's one of the immediate ways. The second thing that comes to mind is that it's really allowing you to make sure that the people who you've invested all of your time, energy, and resources to train them and get them up to speed, that you make sure they do things that are more meaningful. A lot of times, business owners, especially when things are falling behind or they're just running slim on their numbers, they tend to overload all of the even meaningless responsibilities on their top players. So now you got someone who's making $100,000 doing tasks that are worth $10 an hour. Now, they're too good for the $10 an hour task, $15 an hour task, and they're not focused on the thing that you're paying the most dollars for, simply because of whatever reason that, we give to in our mind for delegating to those people. So just when you see taglines like this, man, I think immediately from a business standpoint, you got to say, what does this mean for me as a business owner, as a creative entrepreneur, or someone who's leading or hoping to build a team? And it's be mindful of just those basic fundamentals. And I won't call them basic, but just leadership tips around, hey, think of outside or creative ways to bring talent into your organization to help you fulfill the needs. And don't overload basic responsibilities to top players on your staff because you have too much to do. You want your top people doing the things that are going to earn you the most income, period, point blank. And there you have it.
Sheesh. I saw somewhere that somebody made like I don't know if it was 6,000 or 64,000. I don't know what it was. It was thousands.
Yeah. No, there's somebody a couple of years ago, they had a similar program out, but it was for a different type of law. I think it was for idling. And someone racked in over $100,000 for the year.
So people, if you want to take a picture of idling trucks, go ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Moose is going to call you a snitch. Moose is going to call you a snitch. I'm going to call you a side hustler. Okay? For those, it could be, you can make that into a brand. You will probably get hurt because
that's hilarious.
What was it? I saw a reel about it. Yeah, I saw a reel about it. Like you could get punched and hurt by that. But side hustler, I will call you. And you should document it. And it could be a new YouTube series that you can monetize. There you go.
Wow. Business models.
Look at how we do this. Now, we got a fun little segment called things you could live without. Okay. Well, let me get the. Yeah, you could have lived without this one. All right. So, how we're going to go about this. We need your answers, whether you want to tweet it, whether you want to put it in the comments, however you want to go about it, DM us. But we got 3 things, and I want to know what you could have lived without or is going to live without. All right. So the first one is ads being ran on Uber based off where you're traveling to. Why? Why are they doing that? Why are we going about this? Okay. Next one is Netflix charging subscribers in 2023 when you share your password. We saw that coming. We saw that. We saw that coming. They losing way too much money with that. And then last but not least, Kanye West talking about anything besides music. Okay. So ads being ran. That's one. Ads being ran on Uber based off where you're going, right? Netflix charging you for passwords, or Kanye. Let us know, okay? Tweet us, comment, that whole 9. Whether you want to hit us separately, but anywhere at Nicky and Moose, we want to know your answers. You got to pick one. You can't say all. Please don't say all. Don't do that. All right? Please don't do that. But anyway.
Not all of the above.
Yeah, let's not get all. Yeah, let's not do that. But let's get into our typical blueprint section. I found something really dope that I think Moose would really enjoy, right? I was watching an interview. I watched 2 interviews that pretty much combined to saying the same thing, right? Jamel Hill and Byron, what's his name? What's Byron Allen? There it is, Byron Allen. And the concept is, do we do, let's say, show business or business show? Do we do journalism or business first? And pretty much with the, just keeping it very generic, do we go with our passion first and then the business side? Or do we do business and then our passion? So this is what Miss Hill said.
So you said that you became a better journalist when you became a better businesswoman. I'm dying to know what you mean by that.
It's societal conditioning that we as women absorb, and it gets in our head, despite the fact we outperform. You know, we're carrying a tremendous amount of weight, but yet we have this conditioning that tells us we should be happy to be there. And when you have that we should be happy to be there, it will cost you money, because you will wind up taking jobs and taking less compensation because you feel like somebody's taking a chance on you. And like, no, they hired you because you're talented and you're good. They didn't hire you because of charity.
That's one. Shout out to her with the J's, by the way. But for my audio people, she was wearing the Jordan 3s, the black cements. Not like you care, but I do. And then let's hear what Byron says.
I realized early on, it's not show business, it's business show. Juxtapose those 2 words, and now you can do all the shows you want. Learn the business side. A lot of people show up, they want to be Elvis. Nah, you gotta show up, you gotta be John D. Rockefeller.
Wow. Man, and you know, in a ways, I feel as though they're saying the same thing, but they arrived at them differently, right? And I can definitely relate with Byron Allen on this one, because a lot of times, and this is the blessing and the curse of your passion, when you're passionate about something, you are excited to partake in getting an opportunity to finally do it. You always wanted to be an artist or a musician or a photographer or a web designer, and you never thought that someone like you could have the opportunity to actually do that. Then you finally start learning the craft, you acquire some clients, you find yourself in the game, and you're like, man, I'm so happy to do this that I just want to focus on only doing that. you want to be a speaker, a consultant, a coach, whatever, same thing, right? You're just so happy to have the opportunity that you actually start to become blind to what's the real opportunity, to what's the real business model and how it works. And so I gotta agree with Byron Allen on this one, because when you really understand what is the real game that's being played, or what's the thing that really ticks, what's the piece that they're after all, then you can adjust your moves accordingly. It's not to say that you gotta stop or alter the thing that you're passionate about. You can still pursue your passion wholeheartedly, but you're doing it in a way that at least is securing your future in the long run. Because unfortunately, a lot of times get so caught up in, again, and she says it perfectly too, Jamel Hill, around being so excited to just have the opportunity or to be present, that you don't think about, hey, is this sustainable for my future? Am I playing the right game? A lot of times we have the right skill set, but we're in the wrong vehicle. So it's not to say change your skill set, but just put your skill set in the right vehicle so that you can play a big enough game that gives you the return that you want. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And quick backstory, for those people who don't know who Jamel Hill and Byron Allen is, if y'all remember a lady that got fired from ESPN, not fired, she left. Let me correct that, right? Based off some political stuff when Trump was in office. That's her. She's an amazing journalist, but that's probably what you remember her for. And then the man who bought the Weather Channel. That's Byron. Crazy, right? So here's my thought with this. I completely agree with, and I wish I would have understood the business side, because it creates a freedom to do whatever you want to do once you understand that, right? So the only reason, if from a creator standpoint, I'm going to speak from a creator side, right? If we could just create whatever we want, if we can do our passion with no stress, life would be amazing, right? But we have bills. And we have to figure out a way sometimes of how I love to do this. So how can I do this and get paid, right? But because we go more off of the passion side first, this is something we love to do for free anyways. We move that way sometimes in business. And it actually, for some, hurts us to the point where we don't even love it no more, because we weren't educated on the business side, right? If we were educated on the business side and we knew things like negotiating, we knew things about contracts, we knew things about pricing early, partnerships, collaborations, then we could create all we want to. For people who like to make stuff, they can make stuff. For people who like to sing, whatever, they could do that. If you like to do clothes, whatever it is, you like to consult, whatever you like to do, you can do an unlimited amount of that the second the paperwork's in order, the second the money's coming in with no stress. Like, the reason why to some people, there is a stress on money, because when you have enough, you have no stress. You can do whatever you want. It creates freedom. So I love what Byron said, because he was like, yo, I can create as many shows as I want. I don't have to move in a certain kind of way or wait for certain things, because I already understand the business side. I know percentages. I know contracts. I know when I got to get in the room and what deals to make, right? And even with Ms. Hill, like, I was watching the EYL interview, and she said some really fire things. I got to send it to you. right? But and she was like, yo, there was a show that I was doing on ESPN and I was getting paid less than the person that was my co-host, and we were doing the same exact thing. We weren't doing anything different, right? We did the same exact research, the same exact talking amount, that whole nine. And for like 3 contracts, like she had like a signing bonus. And at the end of it, that was their way of saying, yo, we messed up the first 3. Here you go. It was like a 7-figure signing bonus, right? Because she was on Sports Center. That was a big deal, right? So she understood after going through the business side of ESPN, like, okay, we got to negotiate these things. And she says something, hold on, let me see if I can find it. You're going to love this quote. It's similar to what's your favorite Jay-Z quote that you
Yeah. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
Okay. So she says the same exact thing. It's not even deserved. She says it's not about your worth. It's about what you will negotiate. So it's similar. And so I was like, but you don't get that unless you went through something. You don't get that. And a lot of creators, a lot of people who go based off their passions first get burned with an understanding that too late. I wouldn't say too late, but no, because this is some of the things we need to know in the beginning. But I don't know if there's anybody who does know these things in the beginning. Unless you were like born into business.
Yeah. No, I doubt it. I think you maybe you have a natural thought process of, okay, just logically, I feel that this is the way to do it. But unless you came up that way, like you said, I don't think it exists. Most of us are typically too just excited to have the opportunity that it can work. It almost overshadows everything else.
That's so weird. But like I would love to just do the things that I love with no problem.
With no stress.
With no problems. But we could probably look at our journeys and be like, man, that could have just been so avoided if the business side was straight, or if we laid this out in the beginning, or I would have known this earlier. Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't say, I wish I would have known this earlier.
Yeah. What makes it, what do you think in your mind makes it so, I guess, difficult to ask somebody for their input or just to communicate in general?
Input on what? On just
like
the business
how,
side?
Yeah, because I feel that it is a little personal. I think there's always that, what is it called? Like it's taboo to ask someone about their money or how much money. And it's not even about that. It's just saying how to make it work. You feel me? I feel like it's not common practice to say, hey, how do I structure this right here?
I mean, I don't know if it is about the personal side, like invading. I think we just, some based off maybe culture, are not used to asking questions, period, right? Like you figure it out on your own situation. But then there's, like I was watching Meg Thee Stallion interview on Forbes, and she was surprised how normal Jay-Z and Beyonce are, right? Super dope flex that she did. But, and how they just want to give up the game, right? There are people that are just like, please ask me because I went through things and I want you to learn from me. Ask me, please. But sometimes we don't know what to ask, right? And I know when I think back at some of the stuff that I've done, I don't know what I don't know. So how can I ask if I don't know that needed a contract? I didn't know that needed an agreement. I didn't know, like, I'm not of the business world, so I don't know if they say this and they don't do that, it's okay because it's not written anywhere. Like, it's weird. Like, the business side for me is still very weird. I'm understanding it more, but it's taken years to understand, right? Not that I'm not asking questions. It's now at a point, am I around the right people to ask the questions? That's another thing. Because I'm around people, but do they have the answers that I'm seeking for?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also
Yeah,
another thing of assuming. We assume they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So we never ask.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I think, in all transparency for me too, I think complacency has a lot to do with it, because complacency or lack of exposure, I think either way you can talk about it, or a combination of the two, but you get to a point where you think that that's the highest level of success that you desire or can achieve. And so you stop, you sit in that, you stop learning. And just as I'm getting back into different elements of business, I'd like to think I've been in business my whole life. Like I took over my father's business when I was 15 years old. That's like, you're talking about 17 or 18 years of business experience. But I stopped learning. And when you stop learning because you think that your experience is going to be enough to carry you forward, you miss out on some things that can make you sharper, whether it be because of new trends and strategies, or just new platforms as they arise. So I think as we just stay in simple things, stay in the state of learning to stay on top of your game, and know that you can be number one today, but what you did previously is not going to qualify you today. You got to stay in that pursuit of learning. Not saying stay in the pursuit of hunting and building, and I'm not trying to go down that route, but I'm just saying just simply staying a student. It keeps you sharp enough to know what to do, what not to do, or what doesn't feel right. So maybe I can ask a question. I think if we could just get to that level, we're way better off than the, dang, so that's how it's going to be?
Right.
And he's like, that's messed up. And it's like, it's too late at that point.
So what would you say, okay, starting up, right? Somebody, all right, I want to start a business. Well, not even that. I have something I'm passionate about, because if we look at Byron Allen, that was media, right? His story is so dope because his mom interned at like NBC. And so at a very young age, he saw comedy and things like that and was like, yo, I want to do this. Was always at the right places, talking to the right people. This is what I want to be. And it actually manifested into that, right? And then, of course, Ms. Hill, she always loved writing. Journalism is such a, like, there's this thing she said where it was like, in journalism, we're supposed to be truth tellers on top of being storytellers. I was like,
that's good.
Right. That's so fire, right?
Yeah.
So they led with what they love, right? And what they're passionate about. So if you have somebody who is passionate about things and now they're getting into the business side of the world, right? What even because, she got hired with ESPN, some people may consider that, a 9-to-5 W-2 situation, right? What would you say top 3 things to get you ready for the business world of your passion?
Yeah, I think you got to study marketing and sales, legal and accounting. I think when you're starting a business, you don't see beyond it because you're either incredibly gifted at creating or fulfilling the thing, and you think that by simply doing that, you're going to be totally fine. But a lot of trouble comes up in not understanding business law, right? Just understanding contracts, simple transactions such as that. Law, as annoying as it may seem, is so critical. And I'm learning this more and more every single day. You don't have to do it, but get you a good lawyer. Understanding the importance of legal counsel is important in building your business. Getting a good accountant, understanding, to help you manage your money, to keep you in a good state with the IRS. very, very, very important. It's so stressful. It gives so much anxiety when you're coming up towards that tax time and you haven't been on top of your books, or you're not sure what's happening, or maybe you have a big tax liability, but you overspent, or you didn't do the right thing with your money, and now you have to come out of pocket or take money from this year to pay for last year, and it's the robbing or taking from Peter to pay Paul situation. It's not the best thing. So I think that's another area where a lot of us tend to mess up is in accounting or with the IRS. And then lastly, marketing. The biggest thing, and this is from my personal experience, I know that humble people struggle to market themselves in business. For them, marketing is not moral, or it's a flex where you're trying to bring the wrong attention to you. But at the end of the day, without marketing, there is no sales, and without sales, there's no business. So I think between those three layers, if we as first generation entrepreneurs or creative entrepreneurs entering this rave of entrepreneurship, we got to start thinking about those three layers on top of our gift. And of course, there's something about management and working with others, but I'd like to think that falls under personal development.
Hopefully y'all took notes. Okay. I got a little battle.
Okay.
I have a little battle. Position, power versus media.
Okay. I'm following.
Are you? I want to know
position.
So power, more of like president, king,
okay.
queen, whatever.
Got you.
Versus media.
Mm-hmm.
What's more important? Think about that. I'm gonna show you something, and then I want your answer. Okay, so think about it.
Cool.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
The president of the United States is not the most powerful person in the world. The most powerful person in the world is the person who controls media, because we control what you hear, what you see, what you think, what you read, and ultimately how you behave.
So, asking, power, position versus media.
Wow. I mean, so here's the thing. I've always thought of them as a checks and balance system. One keeps the other in check.
Okay.
So the president can't go crazy because he knows the media is holding him accountable. The media can't go crazy because the president is still the president, and there's the moral obligation or just the law of the land that you have to abide by, at least on Front Street. So I've always looked at them as a checks and balance system. Now, I would hate, to sound like I'm trying to be of like super woke culture or something like that, but I do have to admit.
All right, stay woke.
All right. Like, just keep the lights on.
Didn't even know you were that type.
Right. I mean, it's hard not to be, honestly. I think everything is a conspiracy now. It's like there's something behind everything. But I do, as I'm learning more about the history of media and what has happened. I think there's a movie or a documentary, I'm not sure which one. I think I saw it on Netflix, where they talked about one of the presidential elections. There was one debate in particular that took a wide turn because one of the candidates, the presidential candidates, refused to put makeup on during the national debate. And the way he was perceived by the nation through the lens of the media, he looked as though he was not as confident, not as cool, calm, and collected under pressure. And he ended up losing that election because of it. Now that's framing, right? That's in a sense how the media frames a particular story or a lens so that you can have a certain character. And I have seen that historically just through certain things that I've watched and seen, and even with my own story, that at times when I've dealt with news outlets and how they can take a part of your story and you're saying something and then they'll mute what you say and narrate over what you were trying to say and make it something totally different. And you come up on TV looking crazy, like, wait, what happened? And it's like, oh, y'all really got this under control, and you don't have a final say before it goes out. So I can see one being more powerful than the other, but I've always looked at them as a checks and balance. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, I mean, I can see why you say that to an extent, but then I'm a tread lightly, but I'm gonna use Trump as an example. Okay. Right? So when he was running for president, the media was somewhat on his side. Right? So meaning you see more of the good of what possibly Trump was providing to where he got the votes that he did. Okay. Now, there was still rumbling of his views and his thoughts, right? But the media kept that a little bit like surface level and then showed more of, okay, now Trump is in presidency. But then media, it seemed like media was having a battle. There was part that was pro-Trump. There was part that was anti-Trump, right? And so what people thought of this particular person wasn't solely crafted on what Trump was doing. It was what people were saying and the storytelling behind, Trump. And so when we look at Biden, because of what media had did with Trump, now Biden was seen as the savior. And now media is doing, well, what has Biden done lately? Kind of thing. Right?
Right. That's true.
So it's more on, I do believe if you have control over media, that has a lot of power because you're influencing the masses. Where with the position, you still have to tell somebody to execute this, to do that. Where if I say, this is the story that we're going to run this on all broadcast stations, clip this up, make sure that the major blogs have this. And so now the overwhelm of everything is that particular story, right? The reason why, of course, I'm gonna bring this back. Wow, Lord, I cannot get away from it. But the reason why everybody is upset with Kanye West, aka Ye, because I don't want to disrespect his name because he did change it, right? Is because the world saw what happened with George Floyd. Right? The media made sure that was out in the world. There's no denying what happened to that man. And now, because of a person who has somewhat position because of money, is saying different, is causing a huge uproar because the media side showed the world what happened, right? And then, of course, evidence from a medical standpoint showed what we saw on our phones, on our computers, on our TVs was true to what medical is saying. It's facts are facts, right? So I do believe if you hold strong, and I think this is another reason why Kanye is buying a social media platform. Because if you have control of a platform, if you have control of media, you have control of a lot of influence from a masses standpoint. This is not just a little cute little profile. This is not a station or per se. This is something that can affect the world Not saying Kanye,
Right.
owning that platform, but I'm saying the media, if you control media, you control the feelings, whether it's positive feelings, negative feelings. Like, we probably still have racism till this day because of media,
Oh, 1,000%.
right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of things, prejudice stuff, some stereotypical stuff, just negative things based off what we see, what we hear, what content is put out, right? That can't change just because one person comes into position and says, no more, no más.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, cute. But it's all over here. The huge billboard that says this.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Right? So I agree with the media part and not necessarily position. Because if you have position, hopefully you have control of the media too.
Right.
Hopefully.
To clean the narrative up. Yeah.
Right. But we've clearly seen people in position, from people we like and people we don't like, that don't really have both situations. They don't have position or power and media. They may have some. It still doesn't have the masses. I think if you can control the masses and trigger it to the way that you want. I won't even say positive way, because some people's narratives may want to be negative, right? However you control that it says a lot about the position you have.
That's real.
Yay!
That's real. I like that.
And then one quick bonus that I think Moose can speak on is, did we see what Jay-Z did?
Yes. Actually, I did. Now that's interesting though.
So real quick, people, we know Jay-Z owns Duce, right? And I guess he has a partnership, and correct me if I'm wrong, he has a partnership with Bacardi. He's mentioned Bacardi multiple times in his verses. He's suing Bacardi because he wants financial transparency. He wants the books open, people. Now, I haven't heard this term, or I haven't paid attention. Let's say this. I haven't paid attention to this term since the Joe Budden situation, when Rory wanted to have the books open to see what's going on with the whole money thing. So as we close this up, can we understand what's happening with, why is he suing Bacardi? I thought we were good. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to business especially, and especially such an equal partnership, you're not talking about 70-30, 90-10. It's a small royalty fee that you're getting for your contributions in helping us sell more products or distribute and brand our, product in this case. You're talking about a 50-50 partnership. That means you're looked at as equally liable, responsible, and awarded for everything that we do here. So it's totally fair game to say, so open up the books, let me see how you arrived at that number. Because a lot of times when someone is questioning the books, they're saying, okay, I feel you that you're saying the number is 97, but can you show me how we got to 97? That's what makes people uncomfortable, because truth be told, and you should check with your partners, what is their accounting practice, if you will. Apparently, there are some different accounting standards that some people will use based on how they run their companies. And literally something as little as first in, first out, or last in, first out. Like, there's just little things like that can make the numbers totally different. And I don't think it's a bad question to ask. Me personally, that I think puts people in more of, say, like a trusting relationship, because you're super transparent about, hey, here's what's coming in, here's what's going out, here's what we're doing with this according to our agreement. But it's interesting that he's going to the extent of suing, though. It's like, oh yeah, nah, give me, boom.
Right. Now, this is way above my pay grade, right? It's way above my pay grade.
Mine too. I ain't even going. I ain't even going to try in front.
Way above my pay grade. But my thing is, from a lesson wise, of like what could have been done to avoid this, like what kind of transparency is needed from regular people, of course, right? We're not on Jay-Z status just yet. We don't have Bacardi money just yet or anything like that, right? But there are partnerships that are being done every day, you know, whether it's just verbal, like, yeah, let's do this together, right? And others have things on paper. Is there something maybe even in the paper, like the paperwork, where you could say that transparency with financial stuff needs to be spoken about? Like, how do we avoid, not saying that we're on this tip, but I don't want a Joe Budden situation. I don't want to get sued because I didn't show my QuickBooks this week. You know, like, what can people do to avoid anybody? Because that does feel offensive. Yo, let's open the books. Wait, you don't trust me? What's happening? Like, this is moving smoothly. You know what I mean? Like, did something just go wrong all of a sudden? And the person who sent this, shout out to Alex, but I was like, something had to trigger it. It's always something that triggers to be like, because if things are ran smooth, no one cares.
Yeah, that's true.
No one cares. We're good. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's happy. We're good. Something happened to trigger to be like, let me see that. Not saying you're doing anything wrong, but let me see what's happening.
Yes, I mean, sometimes stuff goes wrong, but sometimes mistakes happen, to be honest with you. I mean, I think there was a situation.
But if it was a mistake, you would get sued?
Well, no, unless you feel as though the person intentionally did it with the intent to sneak it behind you. Like they were hoping that you wouldn't catch the mistake. I think now that is, okay, yep, you crossed the line far enough and I caught you. And so that is the repercussion. I understand that. And I think also Jay is at that level where he knows how to really play the big corporate game very strategically. He's not, going to take it. I'm sure there's a method to the madness on his approach for going the sue route. But I'm saying that, and back to your question, just in terms of from a lesson piece, I think that there are honest mistakes that happen. I think there was something that, speak about it openly, so I don't give too many clues. Not that I ever do anyway, but here it is. I like to think I do.
I'm gonna give you 0.2% into my life,
right?
But that's all you get. You'll still be very confused.
A little tad bit, but until this day, the same mistake is still under review. Like, hey, the accounting should not be done this way. Oh no, but that's how it. No, but and then it's like, I think that opens time or things like that. They open the door for legal to get involved, whether it's attorneys talking with one another from each party to try and fall on equal ground or a compromise, a happy medium somewhere. So sometimes it's not even a lack of trust. It could be just two different parties. And that's why I say, hey, are you and your partners in line with how you do your accounting? Because that, just the difference in viewpoint of how accounting should be done, can create a big disconnect. So we can agree on the business model, on how we should do it, Our skill sets are complementary. We're talking about we agree to divide the money equally or a certain share. You can agree on all of that. But something as simple as we have different viewpoints on how accounting should be done will give us two completely different numbers of what 50-50 looks like. And yeah.
Thanks. Well, people, jam-packed episode. Listen, with the versus part as far as the position or power versus media, tweet us, comment, let us know what you would pick. Is it power and position, or is it media? What would you pick? Okay. And what do you think about everything we said, from the passion and business side, Jay-Z suing, Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, having a side hustle of snitching. Yeah, I mean, all this.
Oh, man.
Listen, snitches got to get
side
paid.
Hustle.
Yeah, they got paid too. They get paid a good amount of money too. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about the episode, and especially of the new format. Yeah, Moose.
Yeah.
Final words.
Man, listen, this may sound funny, cliche, or basic, but it's none of the three. Please get some sleep, drink some water, and get some good food this week. Y'all need it, okay? Get some sleep, drink some water, and get some good food. Stop neglecting your health, man. It's going to catch up to you one day. That's all I got to say.